Consistency, you're a bitch. Does anyone else struggle with consistency? I know I do at times. You want to do things right all the time. You want to eat right, you want to exercise right, feed your mind right. There's just so many distractions. It seems to be so easy to stay on course and then fall off again. And I don't believe that we should be living such rigid lives that we never have that piece of cake or never do something to treat ourselves. Life can't be all about hard work. But the difference is what happens when we stumble. Do we get back on the right path or do we follow that dark path? I remember when I used to work in senior care, some of the folks who had their wits about them, even well into their 80s and 90s, they were very consistent. And I love to observe people and watch people just in general ever since I was little. But I really had a great opportunity to see people in the later stages of life and kind of understand patterns. And I really wanted to pay attention to the people who still had all their marbles, not to sound insensitive, and compare that to people who unfortunately suffered from dementia, Alzheimer's. And I would like to learn about them, what their backgrounds were, what they did for a living, learn as much as I could about their family life, etc., etc. But one thing I did notice was those who can still do so much for themselves were very consistent with what they ordered for breakfast, sometimes lunch and dinner. But for breakfast, they were pretty rigid on what their order was every morning. Good old Abe would always go for the 2-2-2, 2 pancakes, 2 eggs, 2 sausage, and the eggs had to be scrambled. And lovely Mary would always go for the eggs, 2 sausage links, 2 pieces of toast with butter and jelly, and of course her hot cereal. Now that's not to say that if there was a special for breakfast, they wouldn't go for that. But the next day, they'd be back to their usual. I even think about my grandfather, who was a military man back in Cuba, and how consistency was very important to him. Way back when, he was a farmer and he cared about the land and taking care of the land, and he understood the cycles and the seasons and how you had to be consistent with how you treated the land and treated yourself. And at one point my grandparents were living down in Florida, and they consistently went to the store every day and had pastelitos. But if you never had them, find a good place and enjoy some delicious pastries. But when he consistently did that, he gained weight. He ended up moving back to Chicago, and actually, God bless him, he was even in his 70s, and he put himself on a strict diet. So he did that consistently, and guess what? He lost weight. And I even see with Maysoon how consistency matters. It's very important for children to have a routine. Studies show that over and over again. Whether it's the eating schedule, sleep schedule, it has a direct impact on their development. And the last couple of trips that we took, certainly not easy. We don't have all the tools and resources to care for your child in a hotel room versus being at home. It impacts them and it impacts your experience too. Got to roll with the punches sometimes, but you eventually have to get back on track if that's where you want to go. Just remember, once you have your destination, that determines your journey. And I heard this wonderful line yesterday from Tony Robbins. If you don't know who he is, I don't know where you've been, but wonderful speaker and just some beautiful words of advice and wisdom. But he was talking about fear and faith and how they're both the same because we can't predict the future. And essentially the difference between the two is with fear, you feel that life is happening to you. With faith, it's happening for you. So if you consistently live a life of fear, which again, very easy to do these days with all the noise around us, then fear becomes a real bitch. And that bitch will bring you down. But if you live a life of faith, and I'm not talking about religious faith, but believing in yourself, believing that good things will happen for you, sometimes eventually, it may not look like it right now, but that things are always happening for you to get you to where you want to go and to where you need to be, then consistency's a bad bitch. And a bad bitch knows how to get things done. So what do you choose to do consistently? Are you choosing right things or wrong things? Are you getting what you want? Reminds me of that other saying, if you like the results you're seeing, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much for watching this Thankful Thursday. We appreciate you. Hope you're remembering to keep track of the things you're thankful for, whether it's in the moment or writing them down at the end of the day or the week. Make sure to appreciate the little things because they do matter. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll catch you next time.